Good morning, students. In previous lecture, we have finished with a certain basics about biotransformation, or we also called it as a drug metabolism. In previous lecture, we have finished with the various phases of drug metabolism, how that metabolism process will occur in our body and the drug will get metabolized. That we have seen in a previous lecture. In today's lecture, we are going to start with a factor affecting biotransformation of drugs, or we can also call it as a factors affecting metabolism of drugs. Now firstly we will look towards the learning objectives of today's lecture. After completion of this lecture, you will able to firstly learn about various factors affecting drug metabolism. Means you are going to learn which are the different factors due to which your drug metabolism will get increase or decrease. That we are going to learn today. And secondly, you will able to understand what is bioactivation process and tissue toxicity. Means sometimes the metabolism will do the activation process of your drug, and due to that there is a possibilities of tissue toxicity that we are going to learn today. Now firstly we will look towards the various factors that will affecting a drug metabolism. Generally drug metabolism will affect the factors that will affect the drug metabolism. First factor is the physicochemical properties of your drugs. Second factor is the chemical factors, and third factor is the biological factors. In physicochemical properties of drug, whatever the physicochemical properties we have learned in absorption and distribution, most of these physicochemical properties are also having some impact on your drug metabolism. In chemical factors, these are little bit different factors than others. The chemical factors first is the enzyme induction of drug metabolizing enzyme, or we also call it as the enzyme induction. Secondly, inhibition of drug metabolizing enzyme, we also call it as a enzyme inhibition. Thirdly, environmental chemicals, means certain environmental chemicals, if it will get co-administered with a certain drugs, then also there is alteration in, I can say, the metabolism of particular drug. Then biological factors are of number of types. First, species difference, different species will have different impact on your metabolism. Then strain difference, in a species there are different strains of particular living thing, and that strain difference will also have impact on your drug metabolism. Then sex difference, male females will also have different metabolism capacity, that also we are going to learn today. Then age is also one of the important factor in case of drug metabolism. Then diet, what type of diet you are taking, that will also affect the drug metabolism process. Then altered physiological factors, certain altered physiological conditions, that also alters the metabolizing ability of your drugs. Then temporal factors are also there. There are certain temporal factors, we are going to look it in the subsequent slides. Now altered physiological factors, again the altered physiologies like pregnancy, hormonal imbalance and disease state, these are the certain altered physiological factors that will affect the drug metabolism. And in temporal factor, the circadian rhythm and circannual rhythm, these are the two temporal factors that will ultimately affect the drug metabolism. Okay, these are the various different types of factors or different factors that will affect the drug metabolism process. Now firstly we will start with the physicochemical properties of the drugs. Now all of you know that molecular size, shape, then pK, acidity, lipophilicity, steric and electronic characteristics of drug influence the interaction with the active sites of the enzyme. All of you come to know that the metabolism generally works with a, you can say, the metabolism generally works with a binding with the enzymes, and all of you know that these particular properties like molecular size, shape, then pK, acidity and basicity, lipophilicity, steric property generally have influence on the interaction of drug with the active sites of your enzyme, and due to that property these particular we can say factors like molecular size and shape, pK, acidity, basicity, lipophilicity and steric and electronic characteristic generally influence the process of metabolism or biotransformation process. The important factor is the stereochemical nature of drug, that is also influence the metabolism largely. Okay, now in a biotransformation requires interaction of drug with the enzyme, that all we know. The biotransformation requires the interaction of drug with the enzyme, which is an interaction where spatial arrangement is a critical. Now in case of that, the spatial arrangement of atoms in the structure of your drug will lead to stereochemical change in your drug, and that will also play impact in a, you can say, interaction, or it will also change the interaction behavior of drug with a enzyme. Many drugs undergo metabolism exhibit stereoselective hepatic clearance. There are certain drugs that will undergo the metabolism, they have stereoselectivity towards the particular enzyme, and due to that there is a hepatic clearance, selectivity towards the hepatic clearance. The example is the oral clearance of verapamil. This is the example of drug with a high intrinsic clearance displays a profound stereoselective, such as a clearance ratio of plus minus or minus isomerase is approximately 4. Means if you are giving plus isomer of verapamil, then it's we can say its clearance into the hepatic will be the 4 times than a minus isomer of verapamil. Okay, that is the important physicochemical properties of drug with respect to your metabolism, that is stereochemical nature of drug. Then next we are going to learn about the important factors, that is chemical factors. In that, induction of drug metabolizing enzyme, that is very important factors. These are the various factors that will broadly affect your drug metabolizing ability of your liver. The phenomenon of increased drug metabolizing ability of the enzyme, it is important, that is increased drug metabolizing ability of enzyme, especially microsomal monooxygenase system, by several drugs and chemicals called as enzyme induction. Means there is an increase in drug metabolizing ability, means in this condition the metabolism of drug is more, and the agents which bring such effect known as enzyme inducers. Means those drugs which will increase the drug metabolizing ability of the enzyme, these drugs are called as an enzyme inducer. Most enzyme inducers having following properties. These enzyme inducers having following properties, they are generally lipophilic compounds. They are substrate for the induced enzyme system. They will act as a substrate for a induced enzyme system, and they have long elimination half-life. These are the we can say properties of enzyme inducers. Then mechanism, how these drugs or enzyme inducers will increase the drug metabolizing ability of enzyme. The mechanisms are, first they will increase the both liver size and liver blood flow. After taking these enzyme inducers, there might be increasing liver size or liver blood flow. Due to that, there is an increase in metabolizing ability. Then increase in both total microsomal protein content, means whatever the microsomal proteins present in your liver for the synthesis of cytochrome P450, if these proteins will get increased due to these inducers, then also they will increase the metabolizing ability. Then increase the stability of enzyme. The stability of enzyme is get increased, ultimately the metabolism of that particular drug will go on increasing. Then increase the synthesis of cytochrome P450. Then decrease in a degradation. Here is the synthesis and here is a degradation of cytochrome P450. And lastly, proliferation of smooth endoplasmic reticulum, where your all, we can say, microsomal enzymes will get synthesized. If it will get proliferated due to the enzyme inducers, then there is an induction of drug metabolizing enzymes, and the drug will get metabolized in more amount. These are called as a enzyme induction. Means always keep in mind, induction means always increase. Increasing drug metabolizing ability of enzyme is called as a induction of drug metabolizing enzyme, or we also call it as a induction of enzyme induction. Now the example enzyme inducers, these enzyme inducers are generally categorized into two groups. The first group is called as a phenobarbital type of inducers, and second group is called as a polycyclic hydrocarbon type of inducers. Okay, enzyme inducers is of two type, phenobarbital type of inducers and second polycyclic hydrocarbon type of inducers. Now phenobarbital type of inducers includes several drugs and pesticides which increase the rate of metabolism. Okay, this phenobarbital generally includes several drugs and pesticides which increase the rate of drug metabolism of a large number of drugs. Means in presence of these inducers, the metabolism of particular drugs will get increased or induced. Okay, the most thoroughly studied enzyme inducer is phenobarbital. That's why we are giving the name for this group is a phenobarbital type of inducer, which can increase the enzyme activity up to 4 times. Okay, means if you are taking a phenobarbital generally increases the enzyme activity up to 4 times. Means if you are taking a certain drug co-administered with the phenobarbital, in that case the other drug will get metabolized 4 times more than normal. That is the we can call it as an enzyme inducers. That's why, and phenobarbital is largely studied enzyme inducers. That's why we given a name for this particular type of inducers are phenobarbital type of inducers. Now second is called as a polycyclic hydrocarbon type of inducers. Now polycyclic hydrocarbons such as a 3-methylchloranthrene and a cigarette smoke, which stimulate the metabolic rate of certain drugs. Okay, polycyclic means other than we can say our drug and pesticide such as a 3-methylchloranthrene and cigarette smoke stimulates the metabolic rate of certain drugs. Now we will see the examples of these particular enzyme inducers. Some drugs such as a carbamazepine, meprobamate, this is important. Some drugs as a carbamazepine, meprobamate, then cyclophosphamide, rifampicin stimulates their own metabolism. It is important, stimulate their own metabolism. Means when you are taking these drugs, okay, they will induce the enzyme and stimulate their own metabolism, and the phenomenon is being called as, so that this phenomenon is called as a auto induction or self induction. Means what happens whenever you are going to take these particular drugs, carbamazepine, meprobamate, cyclophosphamide, when we are taking that, they will induce the enzyme, and due to induction of enzyme they will metabolize their cells. Okay, that's why this particular concept is called as a auto induction or self induction. The most thoroughly studied enzyme inducer is phenobarbital, which can increase the enzyme activity up to 4 times, that we have learned in a previous slide also. Then consequences of enzyme induction. What consequences due to enzyme inductions, what consequences will arise? Now first, decrease in pharmacological activity of drug. As the metabolism of drug will be more, the drug available in a systemic circulation, the concentration of drug available in systemic circulation is very less, and so that there is a decrease in pharmacological activity of that particular drug. Then increase in activity where the metabolites are active. If the after metabolism, whatever the metabolites are formed, if these are the active metabolites, then there is a chances of increasing drug activity. Okay, then altered physiological status due to enhanced metabolism of endogenous compounds such as sex hormones. Okay, in case of altered physiological status due to enhanced metabolism of endogenous compounds like sex hormones, then also means there is a enhance in a metabolism of endogenous compound like sex hormones. Now there are certain examples of here we can say the inducer drug, and here the drug with enhanced metabolism, means whose metabolism will get increased. Suppose you are taking a barbiturates will enhance the metabolism of coumarins, phenytoins, cortisol, testosterone, oral contraceptives. Then alcohol generally induce the metabolism of phenobarbital, coumarins and phenytoin. Then phenytoin generally induce cortisol, coumarins, oral contraceptives, tolbutamide. Then rifampicin, coumarin, oral contraceptive, tolbutamide and rifampicin. Again you can observe here rifampicin induce itself in a rifampicin. Here also we have given an example in a auto induction. That's why we called it as a auto induction. And then cigarette smoke generally induce the nicotine and amino acid dyes. Okay, these are the examples of inducers and drug that will get induced with these particular inducers. Now next factor in the chemical factor, that is inhibition of drug metabolizing enzyme. A decrease in drug metabolizing ability. In induction there is an increase in, here is a decrease in drug metabolizing ability of enzyme is called as a enzyme inhibition. Okay, now in case of this, the enzyme inhibition is again categorized into two groups, that is direct inhibition and three groups. Enzyme inhibition again classified into three groups. First one is called as a direct inhibition, second one is called as a product inhibition, and third one is called as a altered physiology. Now direct inhibition again categorized into two, that is competitive inhibition and non-competitive inhibition. Product inhibition again categorized into two, that is indirect inhibition and repression. And altered physiological condition, these are the only conditions where enzyme inhibition is possible in certain altered physiology condition. Now firstly we will look to direct inhibition. Now direct inhibition may result from the interaction at the enzyme site. Okay, it is result in a interaction at the enzyme site, that's why we call it as a direct inhibition, and the net outcome being changed in the enzyme activity. Okay, in that first we will look towards now, means whenever there is a direct we can say binding of your drug molecule to the specific enzyme, in that case there is a direct inhibition is possible, and this direct inhibition is of three types, that is competitive inhibition first, then non-competitive inhibition, competitive inhibition, non-competitive inhibition, and product inhibition. Now competitive inhibition, in that results in a structurally similar compound. It is important, very important. Structurally similar compound compete for the same site, okay, on a enzyme. Means competitive enzyme, whenever there is a metabolism, if you are administering two drugs, okay, co-administer two drugs, in that case if they are structurally little bit similar, then they will have a competition for the enzyme attachment or metabolism. Such inhibition due to substrate competition is reversible and can be overcome by high concentration of one substrate. Okay, means it is a substrate competition, it is reversible one, and it can be achieved by high concentration of one of the substrate. If one of the substrate will be in a high concentration, then it will initially saturate all the enzyme, and the another drug will not get we can say metabolized, so that its metabolism is inhibited. That's why we call it as a inhibition. Okay, the example is methacholine inhibits, that is the example. Methacholine inhibits the metabolism of acetylcholine by competing with it for cholinesterase. That is the concept. Methacholine and acetylcholine generally have similar structure, near about. Methacholine generally have similar structure with acetylcholine, and due to that there is a we can say methacholine and acetylcholine will compete with each other, and methacholine will saturate your all enzyme sites, and acetylcholine don't have a binding sites available for the enzyme. Due to that its metabolism will get reduced, or we can say inhibited. Then secondly we will see the non-competitive. Now this particular non-competitive inhibition results when structurally unrelated agents, here structurally similar, here structurally unrelated agents interact with the enzyme and prevents the metabolism of drug. Now sometimes it happens that though there is a no structural we can say similarities between a drugs, still they will have affinity towards that particular enzyme, and that will also prevent the metabolism of certain drug. Since the interaction is a non-structure specific, metals like lead, mercury, and arsenic and organophosphoric insecticides inhibits the enzymes non-competitively. Isoniazide, example is isoniazide inhibits the metabolism of phenytoin by the same mechanism. Means when you are taking isoniazide, metabolism of phenytoin will get inhibited. These are not structurally similar drugs, but still isoniazide will saturate, both will having affinity towards that particular enzyme, and isoniazide will inhibit that particular drug. Isoniazide inhibits the phenytoin metabolism. Then last one is called as a product inhibition, that results when the metabolic product, means metabolic product, it is important. Whenever there is a formation of whenever drug will get metabolized, it will form certain metabolites. These metabolites are called as a metabolite product, competes with the substrate for the same enzyme. And if these metabolites will have same structure with your substrate drug, then they will again, that metabolite again start compete with that particular drug. This phenomenon is also called as a auto inhibition. Likewise, auto induction we have seen, here we also call it as a product inhibition, is nothing but a auto inhibition. This is called as a direct inhibition. Now we will look towards the indirect inhibition. Now in case of indirect inhibition, it is brought by one of two mechanisms. First one is called as a repression, and second one is called as a altered physiology. Repression is defined as a decrease in enzyme content. Okay, repression means what? The metabolism will hamper due to the decrease in enzyme content. It may be due to fall in the rate of enzyme synthesis. Why there is a decrease in enzyme content? Due to enzyme fall in a rate of enzyme synthesis as affected by ethionine, puromycin and actinomycin D. These drugs generally decrease the rate of enzyme synthesis because of rise in the rate of enzyme degradation, and sometimes there is a rise in the rate of enzyme degradation will also do the indirect inhibition, such as carbon tetrachloride, carbon disulfide and disulfiram. These are the decrease the rate of enzyme degradation. Now why this particular mechanism is called as an indirect inhibition? Because here the activity is not directly related with the sites of an enzyme. It is overall related with the, we can say, the concentration or content of your enzyme, so that we can call it as a indirect inhibition. And secondly, altered physiology, due to nutritional deficiency or hormonal imbalance also there is a indirect inhibition of certain enzyme. Enzyme inhibition, this is important one. Many times it is asked in a 2 marks or 3 marks question in an exam. That is, enzyme inhibition is more important clinically than enzyme induction. The reason is that, especially for drugs with narrow therapeutic index, example anticoagulant, antiepileptics, hypoglycemics, since it results in a prolonged pharmacological action with increased possibility precipitation of toxic effect. Now enzyme inhibition is more important than clinically than enzyme induction. Why it is important? Because the drugs which are having narrow therapeutic index, okay, which results in a prolonged pharmacology and due to the enzyme induction, due to enzyme inhibition, their therapeutic index will be get prolonged, or its action or pharmacological action will get prolonged. That's why enzyme inhibition will more important. Now what happen in prolongation of pharmacological action? How it will prolong the pharmacological action? If you have administered a drug with an enzyme inhibitor, now firstly what will happen, that particular drug will saturate your all enzyme, and after saturating that all enzyme, your second drug, which might be anticoagulant, anti-epileptics or hypoglycemic, will do not have binding sites, and it will easily get we can say bypass your metabolism due to unavailability of binding sites for the particular enzymes. Now these are the examples of inhibitors, enzyme inhibitors and drug affected by them. The first inhibitor you have also studied in the pharmacology, that is MAO inhibitors. Generally inhibits the metabolism of drugs like barbiturates and tyramine. Then coumarins generally inhibits the phenytoin. Then allopurinol generally inhibits the 6-mercaptopurins, and para-aminosalicylates generally inhibits the phenytoin and hexobarbital drug. These are all about indirect inhibition. Now we will see in a chemical factor, last factor, that is environmental factors. In environmental factors, several environmental agents that influence the drug metabolizing ability of enzyme. Okay, there are certain environmental agents that will influence the drug metabolizing ability of enzyme. Firstly, halogenated pesticides such as DDT and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons contained in a cigarette smoke. Means halogenated pesticides like DDT, this DDT, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbon contained in a cigarette. These are the content of cigarette smoke, have enzyme induction effect. Then organophosphorus insecticides and heavy metals like mercury, tin, nickel, and cobalt and arsenic inhibit the drug metabolizing ability of enzyme. These will inhibit, means organophosphorus insecticides and heavy metals will inhibit drug metabolizing ability, and halogenated pesticides and polycyclic aromatic carbons contained in cigarette smoke generally induce the drug metabolizing ability. Then other environmental factors such may influence the drug metabolism are temperature, altitude, pressure, atmosphere. These will also have impact on your drug metabolizing ability. These are the environmental factors, and here we have completed with a important factor, that is chemical factors. Okay, now we will look towards the last point, means last factor, that is biological factor. In that first factor, species difference. Now screening of new therapeutic molecules means whenever the new drug we need to screen at certain their activity and toxicity requires study in a several laboratory animals. We need to study it in a several laboratory animals. Difference in a drug response due to different species are taken into account while extrapolating data to the man. Okay, we are doing the experiments on animals, and due to after whatever the findings we are finding in an animal study, then we are extrapolating that data for the humans or man. Okay, the species difference have been observed in both phase 1 and phase 2 reaction. Now these animals and human, generally we are having a different species, our species are different, and due to that there is a variation in metabolism also, and that variation you can observe in both level, that is phase 1 level and phase 2 level. Now in phase 1 reaction, both qualitative and quantitative variation in enzyme and their activity have been observed. Example, metabolism of amphetamine and ephedrine in man and rabbit. These drugs are predominantly metabolized by oxidase deamination, whereas in a rats the aromatic oxidation is the major route. Means for the metabolism of amphetamine and ephedrine in the man and rabbit, it is due to the oxidative deamination process, and in case of rat it is due to aromatic oxidation process. So that this difference we need to consider while extrapolating data from different species from the humans. This is called as a species difference. Now second one is a strain difference, or it is also called as a pharmacogenetics. Now different species, now our species is a human species. This species will also have a we can say different strains. Okay, the study of intersubject variability means man to man or strain to strain variability. A study of intersubject variability in a drug response due to difference in a, for example, rate of biotransformation is called as a pharmacogenetics. This is a pharmacogenetics. Difference observed in the metabolism of drug amount different races, that is important. Different races are called as a ethnic variation. Okay, this is we need to study, means in a different races the variation is different, so that we call it as a ethnic variation. Such a variation may be monomorphic or polymorphic. Now what do you mean by monomorphic and polymorphic? These variations are either monomorphic or polymorphic when unimodal frequency distribution is observed in the entire population. The variation is called as a continuous or monomorphic variation. What do you mean by unimodal frequency of distribution? The entire human race. Okay, suppose the entire human race oscillates PABA and PAS to the small extent. Okay, that's why if entire human race will show the same type of metabolism, then we can call it as a monomorphic, or it is called as a unimodal frequency. Okay, now what do you mean by polymodal distribution? The polymodal distribution is a indicative of discontinuous variation or polymorphism. Means the acetylation of isoniazide in human, different human will have different metabolizing ability of isoniazide, so that it is called as a polymodal distribution. A bimodal population distributes was observed comprising slow, means whatever these our human we can say race generally called as a bimodal population was observed comprising they are generally categorized into slow acetylators or inactivators of phenotype and rapid acetylators or inactivator of phenotype, okay, metabolized by isoniazide. Depending on that isoniazide metabolism, our human race is categorized into two, that is slow acetylators, or it is also called as a inactive phenotypes. It is also called as a inactive phenotypes that will metabolize isoniazides very slowly, and second group is called as a rapid acetylators, or it is also called as an inactivator of phenotype, metabolize isoniazides rapidly. Okay, these two groups whole human race is we can say divided. Now depending on that, ethnic variation in a N-acetylation of isoniazide means depending on the metabolism of isoniazide in a humans, by humans, generally ethnic groups are classified into 6 groups. Now first group is a whites that will generally observe in a USA and Canada. In these population 45% of people generally have slow acetylators. They will have, or they will slowly acetylate isoniazide or metabolize slowly acetylate 45%, and 55% people will generally metabolize rapidly. In the blacks, these are also observed in the US and African countries. They are generally have 48% slow acetylators, 52% rapid acetylators. Then Latin America generally 67 and 33, 67 slow acetylator, 33% rapid acetylators. Then American Japanese, okay, American Indians, here we our race will come, American Indians, that are 79% amongst us are having ability to metabolize slowly metabolize the isoniazide, and 21% will have rapid acetylators. Then Japanese will have 87% and 13%, and Eskimos, those who are living in a extreme cold condition, they are generally always slow acetylators, okay, because of evolution they are always metabolizing a drug in a slow manner. That is Eskimos, generally 95% of Eskimos are slow acetylator, only 5% Eskimos show the rapid acetylation. Approximately equal percentage of slow and rapid acetylators are found among the whites and blacks. You can observe here in the whites and blacks, approximately near about same percentage of whites and blacks rapid acetylators and slow acetylators we can observe in the whites and blacks, okay, whereas the slow acetylator dominate the Japanese and Eskimos. In case of Japanese and Eskimos, the slow acetylators are more, and we are generally, the dose adjustment are therefore necessary in the latter group, since the high level of isoniazide may cause a peripheral neuritis. Now in this case, these two groups, in case of Japanese and Eskimos, we need to adjust the dose of isoniazide dose we need to adjust because of their slow acetylation, and if due to slow metabolism the drug available in systemic circulation will be in more concentration in small dose, okay, so that if we are giving normal dose, whatever we are giving for the Indians, Americans, then these dose may create a peripheral neuritis in a Japanese and Eskimos, so that there is requirement of dose adjustment. Other drugs known to exhibit pharmacogenetic difference in a metabolism are means other drugs which will show same type of we can say metabolism variation due to the strain or strain difference, that is debrisquin, succinylchlorine, phenytoin, then dapsone and sulfadiamidine. These are the example which will show similar effect like a isoniazide in a slow acetylation and fast acetylators. Now next is the sex difference. In the sex difference, you also know that the human sex, male and female, and they will also have different metabolizing ability. Sex related differences in the rate of metabolism could be attributed to the regulation of such a process by sex hormone. Why this is happen? This is due to the regulation of certain sex hormones. Then variation between male and female are generally observed in a following puberty. When there is this observed male and female sex difference metabolism generally observed when they were following puberty. In that case only, in that condition only, we can say the metabolizing ability will be changed drastically. Then such a sex difference are widely studied in the rats. The male rats have a greater drug metabolizing capacity than a female rats. In humans, women metabolize benzodiazepines slowly than a man. In a humans, generally women metabolize benzodiazepines very slowly than a male. Several studies shows that women on contraceptive pills, means those women who are taking a contraceptive pills, metabolize a number of drugs at a slow rate. Okay, means those women who are taking a contraceptive pills, they are generally metabolize number of drugs with a slow rate. Their metabolizing ability will get decreased. This is a sex difference. Then age, this is also a very important factor in case of we can say drug metabolism. In a in a age, difference in the drug metabolizing rate in a different age group are mainly due to variation in the enzyme content, then enzyme activity and hemodynamics. Okay, means different age groups generally have a different ability to metabolize a drug. Why this will happen, this variation is due to enzyme content variation, then enzyme activity and hemodynamics of that particular group. Now first group we will look in neonates up to 2 months, means whatever the neonates up to 2 months, in that the microsomal enzyme system is not fully developed and many drugs biotransform very slowly. Due to that, very many drugs biotransform very slowly. For example, caffeine has a half-life of 4 days in a neonates in comparison to 4 hours in adults. Okay, if you caffeine enter into a neonates, then it will take a 4 days to excrete this drug, and as compared to the adults will excrete it just in a 4 hours. A major portion of this drug is excreted and changed in urine by neonates. Okay, the major portion of caffeine is excreted in a urine, but in a humans it will get metabolized. Conjugation with sulfate is well developed. Conjugation with sulfate is a well developed, that is paracetamol excreted in mainly as a sulfate, but glucuronide occurs to a very small extent. Means in case of neonates, the conjugation with sulfate is well developed, but glucuronation conjugation is up to very small extent. As a result, hyperbilirubinemia precipitates kernicterus, and chloramphenicol leads to cyanosis or gray baby syndrome in a newborn. Okay, if you are giving a newborn, due to this reason there is a gray baby syndrome development in a newborn, because the decrease in metabolism ability of, we can say, chloramphenicol. Similarly, sulfonamides cause a renal toxicity and paracetamol cause a hepatotoxicity in a neonates. Okay, this is the neonates. Now infants, those who are in between 2 months and 1 year, they show almost similar profile than neonates. Their you can say profile is similar to the neonates in metabolizing drug, with improvement in capacity as large advanced enzyme activity is increased. Little bit increase in a capacity as the enzyme activity increases. In children between 1 year to 12 years, that group we can call it as a children. The older infants means metabolize several drugs more rapidly than adults. Then as the rate of metabolism reach to maximum somewhere between 6 months and 12 years age. Okay, means those infants generally will have larger metabolism ability than the adults. As a result, they require large mg per kg doses in comparison to adults. They will require large dose because of higher metabolism. For example, theophylline half-life in children is 2/3 of that of the adults. Means theophylline half-life is 2/3 than the theophylline will get metabolized in an adult. In very elderly persons, means elder persons, the liver size is reduced, the microsomal enzyme activity is decreased, and hepatic blood flow also declines as a result of reduced cardiac output, all of which contribute to the decrease in metabolism. Means elder persons, in these elder persons, due to the age, the liver size will get reduced, then microsomal enzyme activity will also get decreased, then blood flow will also get decline, and this all things is result as a cardiac result as a decrease in a metabolizing ability of your drug. Drug conjugation however remains unaffected. The conjugation phenomenon will remain the same. This is all about the age. Then we will see the next factor, that is diet. Whatever the diet we are taking, that diet will also indirectly affect your drug metabolizing ability or drug metabolism. In that, firstly we will look towards the low protein diet. If you are taking a low protein diet, what will happen? It will decrease, and low protein diet decreases and high protein diet increases the drug metabolizing ability. If you are taking a low protein diet, there is a decrease in drug metabolizing ability, and if you are taking high protein diet, it will increase the drug metabolizing ability. This because the enzyme synthesis is promoted by the protein diet. The protein you are taking, then higher protein concentration you are taking, then the enzyme synthesis will also promoted by this protein, which also raises the level of amino acids for the conjugation of drugs. Then protein carbohydrate ratio. Okay, in the diet it is almost important. High ratio increases the microsomal mix functional oxidase activity. Okay, if this ratio is high, then means you are taking high protein and less carbohydrate, then in that case it will increase the microsomal mixed function activity. Fat free diet. If you are don't taking any fat, you are taking fat free diet, then it will depress the cytochrome P450 levels, since the phospholipids, which are the major part for the synthesis of cytochrome P450, which are important component of the microsomes, become deficient, and due to that the cytochrome P450 levels will get decreased, and it will ultimately affect the drug metabolizing ability. Then dietary deficiency like vitamins, like vitamin A, B2, B3, C and E, and minerals such as iron, calcium, magnesium, zinc retards the metabolic activity of enzyme. They will also retard the metabolic activity as enzyme. This is important, that is grapefruit. Okay, grapefruit inhibits the metabolism of many drugs and improve their oral viability. Means certain drugs, if you are taking with the grapefruit juice, then in that case there is the improved oral viability because it will inhibit the metabolism of certain drug. Starvation results in a decrease in amount of glucuronide formation and normal conditions. Then malnutrition in women results in an enhanced metabolism of sex hormones. Alcohol ingestion results in a short-term decrease followed by increase in the enzyme activity. This is all about the diet. Whatever the diet we are taking related with the protein carbohydrate ratio, fat-free diet, dietary deficiencies, grapefruit, starvation, malnutrition. In all these conditions, your drug metabolism either going to be increased or decreased. The next factor, that is altered physiology. In altered physiology, we have seen the three conditions are there. First one is called as a pregnancy. In a pregnancy, studies in animal have shown that maternal drug metabolizing ability of both phases and phase 2 reaction is reduced. Okay, in the maternal drug metabolizing ability is reduced during the latter stage of pregnancy. Latter stage means last stage of pregnancy. This was suggested as due to high levels of steroid. Why it is happen? Due to high levels of steroid hormones in circulating during a pregnancy. In a woman, the metabolism of a promazine and pethidine is reduced during pregnancy or when receiving oral contraceptives. Higher rate of hepatic metabolism of anticonvulsant during pregnancy is though due to the introduction of drug metabolizing enzyme by the circulating progesterone. Okay, these are the whatever the pregnancy we can say hormones are there, that will have altered physiological impact. Generally steroid hormones, or we can say progesterone, they will ultimately alter the metabolizing ability, and generally maternal drug metabolizing ability is reduced at a latter stage of your pregnancy. Then next altered physiological condition is hormonal imbalance. The influence of sex hormones on a drug metabolism has already been discussed. The effect of the hormones is equally complex. Higher level of hormones may inhibit the activity. This is important. Higher level of hormone may inhibit the activity of few enzymes while inducing the others. Then adrenoectomy, thyroidectomy, and adrenoectomy, thyroidectomy, alloxan-induced diabetes is in an animal showed impaired in the enzyme activity subsequent fall in the rate of metabolism. A similar effect was observed in the pituitary growth hormones. Stress-related changes in ACTH levels also influence the drug metabolism. Means these particular hormonal changes, that is sex hormones are there, then ACTH is there, then certain types of adrenomyelitis, then thyroidectomy and alloxan will induce the diabetes in animals due to this particular hormonal imbalance. Then lastly, disease state. As a liver is a primary site for metabolism for most drugs, all pathogenic condition associated with it or with liver results in an enhanced half-lives of almost drug. Thus the reduction in a hepatic drug metabolism ability is an apparent condition such as a hepatic carcinoma. In this condition there is a reduction in a hepatic activity, that is hepatitis, then liver cirrhosis, obstruction, jaundice, etc. These biotransformations such as a glycine conjugate of salicylates, oxidation of vitamin D and hydrolysis of procaine which occur in a kidney are impaired in a renal diseases. This is a renal diseases will also create a problem, means your liver hepatic diseases, renal diseases, then congestive cardiac failure will also create a problem in a drug metabolism. Myocardial infarction like they will decrease the blood flow to the liver and impaired metabolism of drugs having high hepatic excretion ratio. Example, propranolol and lignocaine is the example of these decrease in due to decrease in metabolism due to decrease in blood flow to the liver. In diabetes, glucuronidation is reduced due to the decrease in ability of UDPGA. This is the enzyme. Due to that, in diabetic condition, glucuronidation will get decreased and ultimately it will affect the metabolism of your drugs. Then temporal, and this is the last factor in biological factor, that is temporal factor. You also called it as a circadian rhythm. Okay, it is also called as a diurnal variation of the enzyme activity with the light cycle called as a circadian rhythm. Means what is light cycle? It has been observed that enzyme activity is maximum during early morning from 6 to 9 am. Means whatever the enzymes present in our body, its activity is maximum during morning period, that is 6 to 9 am, and minimum in the late afternoon after 2 to 5 pm. In the afternoon up to 2 to 5 pm the activity is minimum, which suggests that the correspond with the high and low serum levels of corticosterone. This is due to the high level of means it is studied due to the high level of corticosterone. The study of variation in a drug response influenced by the time, means during this time, if you are taking drug during the morning, its metabolism will be more, and if you are taking it in the afternoon, its metabolism will be less. That particular thing is called as a temporal factor, that is circadian rhythm. And the study of variation of drug response influenced by the time is called as a chronopharmacology, and the dependent change in drug kinetics is known as a chronokinetics. Okay, this is all about the temporal factors. Now last point in a you can say the metabolism, that is bioactivation and tissue toxicity. Now what happen whenever the metabolism process will occur and whatever the metabolites are formed, most of the times metabolites are inreactive, they will not or they will have inert nature, they will not react with the tissues. But sometimes there is a formation of metabolites which will have toxicological activity and they will get precipitated in your we can say tissues, or we can say your organs, and that particular thing is called as a bioactivation. Now we will look what is bioactivation. Formation of highly reactive metabolites from relatively inert chemical compounds, means whatever the chemical compounds we are ingesting, if it is a inert, but after metabolism it may form a highly reactive metabolites which interacts with the tissues to precipitate one or more several forms of toxicity such as carcinogenicity and teratogenicity is called as a bioactivation and toxicological activation. That particular thing is called as a bioactivation and toxicological activation, means production of highly reactive metabolites. Okay. Now these reactive chemically unstable metabolites capable of toxation and are broadly divided into two categories. These metabolites are divided into two categories, that is electrolytes and free radicals. Now what happens if you are taking xenobiotics, means your drugs, okay, then it will form reactive metabolites which are either electrophiles or free radicals. Okay, these are either electrophiles or free radicals. Now electrophiles covalently bind to the tissues and it will create a tissue necrosis, cancer, mutation or teratogenic effect. Similar way, free radicals will bind to your tissues by peroxidation or oxidative degradation of cell components, and they also leads to the tissue necrosis, cancer, mutation, teratogenic effect. This is called as this particular funda or concept is called as a bioactivation or and tissue toxicity. Means initially inert compound, after metabolism it will get converted into highly reactive metabolite and which will precipitate certain toxicities like carcinogenicity and teratogenicity. This concept is called as a bioactivation. Now we will look certain examples of bioactivation. The compounds and their metabolic reaction that generate toxic intermediate. First compound is the benzopyrene. Okay, metabolic pathway by aromatic epoxidation and it will leads to lung cancer. Okay, benzopyrene generally aromatic epoxidation metabolism pathway and it will create a lung cancer. Then afloxacin B1, that is olefine epoxidation, that is a metabolic pathway and it will create a hepatic cancer. Then thalidomide, most of you have learned this if you have learned the Helsinki approach in a pharmacology, that is thalidomide tragedy. You also have heard somewhere in your pharmacology, that is thalidomide, if it is given in a pregnant woman, then it will undergo the hydrolytic cleavage of a lactam and it will create a teratogenicity. Generally that teratogenicity we called it as a seal fin, means whatever the seal fish is there, its hand, whatever the newborn is there, its hand and feet are undeveloped, like a underdeveloped, and it will looks like a fins of a seal fish. That particular teratogenicity you can observe while giving a thalidomide in a pregnant woman. That's why thalidomide is completely banned during a pregnancy. Then chlorinated hydrocarbons, example CH3, that is chloroform, simply that is oxidative dehalogenation and it will create a nephrotoxicity, means your kidney toxicity will be possible in a chlorinated hydrocarbon. These are the examples of we can say bioactivation and tissue toxicity. Okay, this is all about the metabolism. I have recorded this lecture also. For recording of this lecture, you can subscribe my YouTube channel. I am going to upload this lecture on this YouTube channel. This is all about the metabolism. Thank you. Now if you have any query, any problem, you can ask me now. Session is open for discussion.
सर त्याची ऍक्टिव्हिटी कशी शो करतात?
Which enzyme? Inducers. Okay. Wait a minute. I will again show you a slide of that. Now you are saying that how the enzyme induction activity is shown. Here we have seen the mechanism. Why there is an induction of enzyme will occur. The mechanisms we have seen here. You can observe activity. They increase the both liver size and liver blood flow. If you are taking a inducer drug with another drug which is co-administered with the inducer drug, the inducer drug, what it will do, it will either increase the liver size and liver blood flow. Due to that, there is a synthesis of more enzyme and more drug will get passed through the liver, and due to that there is a, we can say, induction of drug metabolism enzyme, and the drug metabolism enzyme induction is possible. Secondly, the increase in both microsomal protein content, as we have seen in a diet also. If you are taking high protein content, then there is a changes in a we can say synthesis of your enzyme pattern, and If this will happen, then if there is an increase in total microsomal protein content, ultimately the enzyme will be more, and that more enzyme will induce more drug. That is second mechanism. Then third one is the increase in stability. If your enzyme will have more stability, ultimately it will have more induction ability. Then increase in synthesis of cytochrome P450, that is important enzyme for the we can say metabolism. If it will get increased, its concentration will get increased, ultimately binding sites available for the attachment will be more, and ultimately more amount of your drug will get metabolized. Similarly, decrease in degradation. Here is not a synthesis, we are saying degradation. Means whatever the cytochrome P450 is there, its degradation will get decreased, means it is available in more concentration again, and again more sites will be available for the we can say enzyme induction. Then proliferation of smooth endoplasmic reticulum. This is important because whatever the synthesis of your enzymes, we can say microsomal enzymes generally take place in a smooth endoplasmic reticulum. If it will get proliferated, the synthesis will also get increased, and ultimately higher amount of your drug metabolizing enzyme will leads to the higher number of binding sites, and ultimately it will metabolize a higher concentration of your drug. That's why we called it as a enzyme induction. Clear?
Okay.
Okay. Any problem, anyone?